The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty is fighting the lawsuits, filing motions to intervene in the case. Lucas Vebber is Will's deputy counsel. He joins us now. Lucas, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good. Thanks for having me.
So we just heard Jeff Mandel saying they're looking a little more long-term, potentially 2028. We've heard others say, listen, we want to get these changes in place ahead of the midterms. Is your main goal, first and foremost, to stop this ahead of the midterms next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in terms of the timeline, the court will let it play out as the court wants to play out. Yeah. I think the most important thing is that these legal claims be addressed fully, and whatever timeline we need to do that is what we're aiming for.
How do you argue that the congressional maps are fair right now when races in Wisconsin generally are 50-50, yet the congressional makeup of the delegation is 75% Republican?
Yeah, so the maps that are in Wisconsin were adopted by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Those are maps that were drawn by Governor Tony Evers. The maps are what they are, and elections matter, candidates matter, issues matter. I think what these cases that are being brought seek to do is assign every person in Wisconsin either one political party or the other, and assume that they're always going to vote that way going forward in perpetuity. We know that's simply not how it is.
And critics argue, though, that the maps don't show the accurate representation of the breakdown of Wisconsin's constituents.
Yeah, so the maps that are in place right now were drawn based on the 2011 maps, which were drawn by the Wisconsin legislature. Those maps were challenged in federal court. That federal court noted at the time that they were done with bipartisan input. So the maps that are in place are the maps that are in place. If anybody wants to change those maps, there's a way to do that. You can go through the legislative process, as we've seen in other states, going to the courts to make new law and essentially try to add provisions that have never before been recognized in the Wisconsin Constitution is not the right way.
Is this three-court panel foreign territory, so to speak, just in terms of how you make these arguments?
Yeah, so this is never, a three-judge panel like this has never actually heard one of these cases in Wisconsin. It's a relatively new law within the last couple decades. So yeah, it is. This is something that was put in place to hear apportionment challenges, which would be challenges to maps the legislature makes. The maps that are being challenged here were imposed by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. So what they're effectively asking is for lower court judges and our hierarchy of the courts to overturn the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which, as we've said in our pleadings, they can't do.
Redistricting has become an incredibly hot topic ahead of the midterms. You look at states like Texas, you look on the pressure just on Indiana this past week. What do you make of what those states are doing in terms of redistrict themselves?
Yeah, so in the other states that are doing this, whether you like it or not, those are legislatively driven efforts. Elected officials in the state legislatures are choosing to do what they want to do. That's what the U.S. Constitution says. The U.S. Constitution vests that power in state legislatures. Here in Wisconsin, they're just going to the courts. They're trying to evade the legislature. In one of the cases, they're actually opposing the legislature's intervention in the lawsuit even. So it's an entirely different situation what's going on here in Wisconsin.
It seems like both sides are somewhat arguing Wisconsin is unique from what we're seeing in all the other states.
It is, yeah. I think, these efforts sort of predate what's happening in those other states. We first saw, these maps were first adopted in 2023. We saw the first attempt to throw them out in 2024. A few more attempts this year. These new suits represent, I think, the fourth and fifth attempts to throw these maps out. This has been a drumbeat that's been going on for some time.
One of the lawsuits, Law Forward, they're arguing, well, this is a new argument, so the court should be able to hear that. Is that one of your biggest challenges to argue against?
I think they're trying to frame it as a new argument, but I think it's what they've done is essentially just repackage a partisan gerrymander argument, which has been explicitly rejected by our Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court.
Will's deputy counsel, Lucas Vebber. Lucas, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.